Yes, we are going all night long. This is why our calls are badass. This is the Daily Awesome Podcast. Man, right now, there's a call burning fire, and we're talking about stuff. We're talking about a guy who's going through a divorce, and that's always crazy. And and all these other dudes who are married in relationships and who are also going through that same thing or have been through it. Man, they're talking to him, and this it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I had to step in and make this video, but that's what this podcast is about. What happens when your ex-wife goes through your phone? This could be for any guy who's in a relationship, your girlfriend, your current girlfriend goes through your phone, whatever, or you go through her phone, all that sort of shit. It gets nuts, man. When you build that little bit of distrust, that little bit of doubt, it's crazy. And it never works out. You get into the argument, the dialogue, it never gets resolved. But that's what we're talking about. If you're into this sort of stuff, you want to better yourself as a man, what are you doing if you are not on the Austin Men's Development Board? If you are not downloading our free PDFs, go to the free stuff link down below this either video or this podcast where the description is. Click on that and get involved with what we're doing, man. It's very good. We are a group of men that since 2009, in fact, I've been teaching a lot longer than that, but since 2009, we've had a group where every Wednesday, it doesn't matter. If I'm on vacation, it doesn't matter if I'm working. Every Wednesday, we have a call. That call gets carried by men who are bettering themselves in every single way that you can imagine. A lot of times, we start off talking about dating, sex, and those types of things, but every single guy on there, man, fitness, how to be better in your job, how to be better with your purpose, how to find ambition, how to tap in to that primal drive so that you feel better about who you are. And it's not a fucking act. It's not faking it. It's not any of that bullshit, but really talking about it on the real, and that's what's happening here. So, my man is going through divorce. It's tough times, man, tough times. She didn't want it. He wanted to hold on to it, and that's actually the case for a lot of the guys on our course. Of course, there's also the other side where guys like, man, I don't want this. I'm going to go cheat on my wife. I'm getting out of this thing. I'm going to go have some sex. And before we get wrapped up into all this bullshit judgment, look, when you're at a place in your life, see, relationships have a shelf life. We all try and hold on to them, and I really appreciate guys who have held on to their marriages for a long time. We talk about that too because that's what I respect. That's my path right now. But that may change. I know that. I just know that from my own life and from, just watching and working with so many other men on their lives. But the thing is that when we get into this discussion, when we're treating our wife like our wife, that's one thing. But when she becomes our ex-wife or when we become separated, it mixes everything up. And so one of the things that they're talking about here is, she wanted that divorce. She was the one that wanted to start separating or spend some time apart, and she wanted to sleep with other people. That hurt him, man. It fucks with you. And no matter how badass your frame is, fuck you if you're saying that, because fuck that. If there is a breach in that agreement that we have, of course you have a different agreement that's different, but if that's a breach, that doesn't mean you're a weak man. That means you're a fucking human being. That means you're a human being where that drives you crazy, right? It's not good. So anyway, he goes to some work on himself. He starts working on some stuff. He starts joining some TSL stuff. He starts getting involved with what we're doing. Our men's group, he has a ton of support. There's a ton of guys supporting him in the marriage. There's a ton of guys supporting him when he decides that he wants to go for a divorce. There's a ton of, it's just always there, man. It's whatever you decide, as long as it's the best you. If it's not the best you, I can't stand next to you. And that's one of the things we talk about in our groups. So he basically says, all right, I'm going to start playing around. I need to do this. And he does it, man. He gets some good stuff. She reads the text messages. She gets pissed off. She's the one who wanted this months ago. And now when he's starting to get his game on, she's in his life. He's starting to succeed. And see, one of these things, when he was going through this, one of the guys on the call was saying, man, she's got to know what it's like to live without you. Right now, she knows what it's like to live by you, to have you by your side. You may be fucking up a little. You may be whatever. You may be losing the last thing, and you can take that on your shoulders, or maybe it wasn't your fault, whatever. But she basically decided, you know what? I got this. I'm going to see what's better. But what's so interesting when this happens, and this works also in reverse, as soon as he goes, you know what? Then find out what it's like to live without me. You're not my wife anymore. I'm going to talk to you like a person who's getting divorced from me. I'm going to talk to you like a person who doesn't get that same love and respect. And you're going to fuck that up because learning that language is tough. You've never been in this situation before. Maybe you have, but it's a lot of pressure. You've never been under this emotional duress before. You've never been under these situations that are so, confusing that you can't comprehend it. It's like, oh yeah, man, if she fucks somebody else, I'm not going to give a fuck. And then she fucks somebody else and then you give a fuck. And you're unprepared for it, man. So you're going to fuck those things up. You're going to get too dramatic. You're going to get mad. You're going to get times where you act like the passive one and you feel like a bitch. There's going to be a whole spectrum of stuff. And so you got to learn that. You got to learn that language of how to talk to her. And one of the things that I was saying was one of the best things that I've had in my life. And believe me, man, believe me, if my chick is upset at me, I don't want her to be upset. I don't want her to be upset. It makes me feel bad. Jesus Christ, I feel bad. I want her to like me. I'll whine, I'll plead, I'll walk away, I'll be tough or whatever. There'll be a whole spectrum of different things. We probably, pretty much got that figured out because that shit happens a lot, especially when you're in a relationship and you have kids and you got pressure, you got to make money and people are doing other stuff and blah, 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 blah. But the thing is you got to learn the language of that. You've got to learn that. And what gave me so much wisdom to have some faith in different ways of communicating was this. For a lot of my life, I dated multiple people. I dated multiple people at the same time, which is a pain in the ass. We all think it's the greatest thing in the world. And, it's not bad. It has its benefits. Pretty fucking cool. But you also got 4 chicks calling you. And I shit you not, man. My phone would blow up. And it would be like, oh, my God, you don't even care for me. I'd be like, what the fuck is it? Okay, baby, I care about you. Look, don't leave. All this shit. And then I'd get another text message in that same time. Be like, you don't even care for me. You don't even do this. So what the fuck? And then I start messaging her back. I don't even finish that text. I can't even press send. And another girl calls me and she says the same thing. And she's on the phone. She's going, what is this? I had this happen today and you're tired. You're not even. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so finally, I'm like, man, shut up. I can't deal with this. I'm at McDonald's. I'm trying to do something else. Fuck off. And I'd say that. I would be mean. All right. And then the next girl would call me. And then the first girl called me again. And then I'm getting text messages at the same time, hating me, saying I'm a motherfucking blah, 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 blah because of this and that. And I'm just like, ghost to all of you. Nothing. It escalates more. They get more and more mad trying to get my attention. It doesn't work. And then all of a sudden they say, hey, man, I'm sorry. I flipped out, blah, 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 blah. So see, here's the thing. All the red pill MGTOW motherfuckers who don't get any pussy, and hey, maybe some of you guys do, because you always tell me that. You guys all think, man, that's because you treat a woman like a fucking bitch. No, you treat a bitch like a bitch. You treat a woman like a woman. Everybody wants to be a woman. Every woman wants the opportunity to be a woman. Every woman wants the opportunity to feel good and to embrace her man and all these different things. But if she's not getting fed in certain ways, she starts doing what we all do when we're starving, when we have scarcity, when we think we're running out, when our emotions aren't being fulfilled, when we're fighting because our emotions won't happen and blah, 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 and we react. So we got to chill the fuck out. We don't necessarily have to be mean. We don't need to push them away. That was my first step in learning this, and that happened a lot. There were too many times when I dated multiple. I used to live with 2 chicks. Man, that was, what the fuck is wrong with me? Jesus Christ. There's zero benefit to that. Let me just tell you. There's no frame bullshit. Yeah, you get to fuck 2 chicks and they fuck each other and you watch and they both say your dick's amazing. Then you look at another chick outside of that and then they team up on you even worse and then they get jealous of each other, but then they unify with each other. Oh man, it's why would they? The only reason why you'd want that is for some weird power trip narcissism. And I like sex and I like women. So it didn't really fit into that. Maybe you like feeding your insecurity or something. I don't know, whatever. So that all being said, I got to see that. I got to see what worked. I got to see it first being a dick and then later just saying, when I started to notice that, just not talking to him. And then maybe later on, when they finally calmed down and broke and all that sort of shit, I had to say, hey, you know what? I don't want to talk to you like that. That's not cool. If you need to say something to me that affects you or hurts you, you don't come at me like that. That's not cool. That's not being alpha. That's not holding up a frame. That's simply communicating in actually a fairly functional way. Now, in my marriage now, there's shit that goes wrong. because we're two people. We're two very passionate people. Actually, never. That's how I know Maria's awesome. She never says she's a passionate person. Crazy women. This is a little gem. Crazy women that you should not date always say, I'm very passionate. And then they use that as an excuse for their crazy outbursts. Or if they have a kid and they say they're a good mom, they're not a good mom. Might be generalizing, but I've found that to be very, 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 very red flag and to stay away from. But so the thing is that we go through our different problems. There's sometimes where we communicate good and sometimes where we don't. There's sometimes when I react, sometimes when she reacts. You have to learn the language of voicing yourself. And for new situations, you're going to fuck up. You're going to get it wrong. Bounce it off your dudes, right? Bounce it off different people. See what's right. See people who've been through it, who aren't angry and hateful, and who resolve something to better something in their lives. Because it's so goddamn confusing, you cannot predict it. It's so unique that movies can't portray it well. It's so nuts that even though you think it's not going to fuck with you or you think you're going to feel more powerful when this happens, it's not going to happen that way. But what needs to happen for you to be a healthy human being is you need to express. You need to be social. You need to be sexual. And what that really means is express means that you need to tell the truth in you. But that expression also needs to connect. So if it hurts people or pisses people off or it only uses power to get there, it's not going to sustain. We also need to know that being social means that there's a joy in talking to everybody out there and not just the hot people or people that can get something for us or whatever. That there's a joy in that. There's a joy in being sexual, and sexuality isn't the orgasm. It isn't just the tits. It isn't just the ass, but it includes all of that thoroughly. But it's also something inside you that finds such a great joy of somebody being attracted to you and you being attracted to them. And it may not be the story that you made up in your head. In any case, guys, join a men's group. We got so many guys on here, especially it's so great that are like married or divorced or getting a divorce or in relationships, that it's such a rich group. Free stuff linked down below. Click on that. Join the Austin Men's Development Group. That's the free group. The paid groups are infinitely better. You can join the paid group at the starter level. Get one call a week. That's awesome, man. It's a group call. It goes on all day, so it doesn't matter what time zone you're in. It's badass. You get coaching to the extreme, and it's $20 a month. And you get tons of content. Content's awesome, but it's almost like, man, it's just libraries and libraries of some of the greatest courses that you can imagine on social dynamics, on fitness, on clarity, and blah, 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 blah. But the calls, man, the calls. The MD Excellence course, $60 a month, man. It gets you, it's awesome, $500 for the year. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. And it's something that I encourage you all to do to get to know each other. And if I understand, there's a lot of things that you might not gel with or know that they're for you, check out our free stuff. Austin Men's Development, the free PDFs, they're all written for men to excel and succeed who have excelled and succeeded in the many different factions that we have in our lives. That's women, that's dating, that's sex, that's entrepreneurship, that's our career, how we make money, how we save money, how we get out of debt, how we get in shape, and how we have passion, focus, and drive in everything that we do. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you guys soon. Daily Awesome.